Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Chats with Chantla. I am Chantla Israel, and you can see it is a full house tonight. We have the amazing members of the core standing for conversations on real experience. So we have Rashad, Shannon, Kian, J-Kel, and Montel. So welcome to the platform, y'all. How y'all doing today?
What's up?
Good. How are you?
Great.
Excited
Thanks
to be
for
here.
having us.
Good. Thank you for having
I
us.
am so excited because I'm like, it feels so dope to have like everyone on the screen. It feels
I
so
know.
good. It feels
Right.
so
On the
good.
screen though, like on the screen, not just
Right. It looks like something I need to do every Monday. So I hope everyone who's tuning in is ready for this conversation, because if you don't know the core members, you will know by the end of this conversation. As always, make sure that if you have any questions for our guests that you put it in the comments, and then I'll be able to ask on your behalf. But let's get this conversation started because I'm so excited. So thank you, Tiara. She says, hey, family.
Hey.
Hey,
Abo.
So if you can't already see the chemistry, then y'all are just blind and you can't hear, you can't feel, but they have such a synergy as a team that it just makes me super excited. So you have so many people logging on, sharing and watching. So y'all came through. Y'all came through. Hi, Rashana. She says hello. Kian, just so you know, your camera went black, but we'll give you a minute. There you go. We need you right back on here.
Yeah, there we go.
Come on, little bro.
This is what happens when family gets together. I feel like I'm the older auntie. So with the flowers. So let's get this conversation started because I know I'm excited. People who are sharing and watching are excited. So they want to know more about the core members and so much more. So I'm going to ask the first question, and Montel, I'm going to start with you. And so the first question I want to ask is, how do you describe being real? Since, it's called Conversation on Real Experiences. So how do you describe being real?
Authentic. You just being you, unapologetically. I don't know what else to say. Just authentic, completely authentic. No facades, no mask, just you.
Yeah, and it's because so many people aren't real. So we want to pop it over to Shannon. Shannon, how do you describe being real?
Yeah, I think the big part about us that makes us real is our vulnerability. So we're not afraid to share our own real life experiences, our own pains, our own sorrows. And I think, like Montel said, definitely being authentic, but it's also being vulnerable and also being able to be open to be able to connect with our listeners.
Absolutely. And you will see how relatable you all are who are watching as this conversation continues. So I'm going to jump in, get the other three to describe. And it's okay if you repeat. So I'm going to jump over to Kian. So how do you describe being real?
Just piggybacking off of what Montel says, just being yourself, being who you are. And that's what I like about the group, because no matter what environment we're in, we stay true to ourselves. And that's just like, that's the ultimate realness you can have, being yourself. So
I appreciate that.
that's all I can say.
Pop it over to J-Kel.
I'm just like my big brother Montel said, just being real, being your true self, because my family knows I'm showing up and I'm being J-Kel, and they are going to accept it, okay?
Facts. That's facts.
That's a fact.
Okay. I got the realness from J-Ko very young.
Wow.
Very young. I experienced realness very young. So I know she's talking about is the truth. That's 100%. That's not watered down.
Yes.
So we saved the best for last. How you feeling? You came through.
Yes,
You came
through. My brother.
Hey, you know what I mean? No, I mean being real to me is just about unlocking some stuff. You know, I feel like I'm real based off of, you know, being able to be transparent, like Montel said, but also just finding that place where I can relate to somebody else. So I mean, even if it's something just as small as, you know, somebody doesn't like the way that they look also, that's being real. Like, I'll be like, oh man, I struggle with that every day. So I think just being real is being able to connect with somebody as well.
Absolutely. I love it. So you heard it, being authentic to yourself, making sure that you show up as yourself at every instance, as you said, with family or friends. And so I just really think that what they said and being vulnerable, as Shannon said, so there's just so much that you can hear how they complement each other. So you as an audience member of the core that happens on the platform that you will learn about, you get that. It's a very warm atmosphere. You feel very welcomed. You're able to participate by receiving and giving. So there's a lot of great takeaways that you get from their podcast and them coming together. So again, we're going to keep this moving because there is a lot that we're going to get to. So if you have any questions, again, put in the comments. But I want to shout out Kim. Thank you so much for joining. She is joining and supporting the core members. So we really appreciate you. She's always here every Monday on Chats with Chantla, so I appreciate her. So the second question is kind of like our icebreaker question for the group. And I want to ask, let me get this up. I apologize because you know what happens when your phone shuts. You don't need to. The question is, tell us something about yourself and how this helped you in the role that you support as a core team member. So each one of you will have an opportunity because we want to know what role each of you play and then how it helps you being a core team member. So I'm going to start with Shannon.
Oh, man. So I feel like, so me and J-Ko, we're the struggle sisters, right? She's struggle sister one, so she struggles a little bit more than me. So I feel like my role is, and you know, I have a background in counseling. So for me, the healing part of what we do is extremely important. So I feel like for me, I'm always like, okay, but well, what are we trying to achieve here? So I feel like my role is kind of the one that keeps it all together, to make sure we're staying on task, but also struggling myself sometimes too. So bringing that to it as well.
You keep it on task because you're always resetting the room, and I love when you do that.
Thank you.
So J-Ko, she said she was struggle sister. I mean, let me come to the other struggle sister. How do you tell us a little about yourself and how that role fits into the core team?
Because I'm sometimes all over the place. Like, guys, what we said we were doing? I am definitely the fun sister of the group. I'm bringing all the humor. I am sometimes that inappropriate person that they're like, all right, sis, you can't say that. Yes. You can't do that. So I definitely bring the fun, funky side to the group. And yeah, that's me.
Okay. Ken, how about you?
Well, I'm the little brother of the group, and I feel like I'm the. I don't know. I feel like I'm the humor. I feel like I can always get them to laugh. I feel like I bring the humor in the group because they're laughing right now. I'm gonna say nothing funny.
For sure.
And I'm like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I'm just there, but they try to pick on me though, so I don't be having it, but.
We don't try to pick on you. Don't be telling the world that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's what happens when you're the little brother. You did get picked on because nobody wants to bring you. They be trying to run from you. You just keep up. You keep up all the time. So Rashad, how about you?
But no, it's actually.
Okay.
Go ahead, kid.
No, it's actually the opposite. They be looking for me because I'd be like MIA all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're always like on the alert.
Sure.
That's a fact.
That's facts.
They found you tonight. I'm glad they did.
Yeah, he's here. He's here.
On time. He was early, y'all. He was early.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
What about you, Rashad?
Well, I was gonna say I'm dressed today. They call me Rashad X, so I'm the outspoken, loud one. I'm the boisterous, and I'm always on go. So that's why they call me Rashad X. So I mean, I think that I'm just I come in for the one-liners. I mean, I try not to say too much until I gotta say too much. And then I go into a whole nother stratosphere. But yeah, I would say I'm the muscle around here, and
That's
everybody
it.
else tries to balance me
Sergeant
out
of
because
arms.
because I'm on go all the time.
Okay. And so, come on. What about you, Montel?
I'm
What's your role?
big. I'm big bro. I'm the big brother of the group. I'm the one that kind of corrals us, you know, kind of puts us in check when we out of line, you know, along with Shannon. You know, me and Shannon are the two oldest of the group. So we kind of play that role like big brother and big sister of the whole team. So yeah, that's
Okay.
me. That's me.
I feel you. I can sense it. So thank you for joining this evening, Vince. And he is like, Rashad, he needs that shirt.
Hey, Vince, I got
So
you. I got you.
I got you for real. Absolutely. I feel you, Vince. But my next question, and Montel, I think that you're going to start it off in regards to this question, but how did you manifest, how did the manifestation of the podcast and its name come about?
Okay, fair warning, this is going to be a lengthy description. So maybe about a couple years ago, maybe almost 3, I was just thinking like, man, like Black men, we'll start it that way. Black men don't really have an outlet to really speak about things and talk about the different situations and struggles that we go through in life. So I kind of threw a status out on Facebook and was like, how would you feel about us talking about, or men just sitting down and talking about these different situations? And the response I got was massive. And Kian also had a similar idea. We came together, talked about it. We met for a while. Brother Rashad we all went to the same church. So we was like, yo, we need to bring Rashad in, somebody with all different perspectives, especially from our age group. And we were meeting, and the meetings with just the 3 of us were so freeing. Like, because we were getting a lot of things off our chest, just speaking about life and what we dealing with. But we would get there and we can never be about business. We were always talking about, you know what I mean? What we're doing in Clubhouse, just tossing around different subjects and things we're going through. And it was like, man, we're missing something. Like something's missing. And I want to say maybe a few months later, I'm at work and J. Kell messages me on Facebook like, hey, I was praying about something and God showed me this vision to like ask men and talk to men about certain things. And I'm like, this is mind blowing. So I read her message and she was like, I don't know why, but I was praying and God showed me you. So I messaged you today. And I was like, listen, did you see my like status from last year? And she was like, no. So I screenshotted and sent it to her. And she was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, listen, let's set up a meeting. I introduced her to Rashad and Kian. We met at Panera Bread, and she kind of came in on a Zoom call, and we just talked and spoke from there. And we were like, listen, like, let's just meet and see what's going on. And we were like, man, like, I don't want it to be just the 3 of us guys and then one female perspective. And I was like, ask JK, like, do you have someone who you think can mesh with the group? And she was like, oh, I got the perfect person. And reached out to Shannon. And she was like, it's crazy because Shannon had this on her vision board to start a podcast this year. So boom, it literally came together just like that. And we had another meeting at Panera Bread, the 5 of us. And originally we were playing with the name just flat out The Conversations. And Shannon came in with the pizzazz and was like, I had an idea to name it The Conversations on Real Experiences, and we'll use the acronym, the CORE. And that was it. Like, that was like the magic moment. Like, okay, that's it. Like, God stepped in the room and kind of showed us, like, this is what we're doing. But of course, COVID kind of got in the way, so kind of put a halt to everything. But Clubhouse kind of opened the door for us to step in and kind of get our feet wet with it and get the ball rolling with everything.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to add anything to that amazing story on Conversations on Real Experiences, the CORE, also known as the CORE?
I just think
No,
that
I think he told it. Oh, you're the older sis, so I'm gonna let you
Thank
have
you.
this one. I'll go next.
I was gonna say, I think the way that he told it, but also too, like when we're together and we start having these conversations, just how organic it is, and how even when we were meeting and planning, just the conversations that we started having helped us. So I definitely think that everything was aligned by God for us to be here. But when it worked out perfectly, I'm telling you, we could be on a Zoom for a meeting and we could talk for hours. Like sometimes we're just like, okay, we gotta stop. Like we gotta stop. We're wasting our content here, right? But we could just so I think it just definitely God put us together for a purpose. But I also think, just the conversation when we're together is just so organic. That just, it's like it was meant to be.
Yeah,
absolutely. I would say that too. So I'm going to give anyone else the opportunity to add on to the story.
Ken, you were about to say something.
So I was just saying, I was just saying that I wish we just had like some way to like document the hours we spent at the Panera Bread from the first meeting to like our very last meeting there, because it was magical almost. It was breathtaking. The stories we were telling, the realness that was coming out of the conversation. We literally, Panera Bread should have had us on their payroll, because we would be leaving with the employee. We were leaving out the employee door. That's how long we would be there. They would be like, "Nah, you can't go out the front. You got to come out here with us."
Yeah, that's
like
true.
Literally like
I
coming
forgot
out the
about
side
that
door with the employees, because we was there so long. So it was just, you knew right then and there that we had something. So
yeah.
Absolutely. I can't agree anymore with Ty. She said, won't he do it every time? And shout out to Panera. They should have been giving you those leftover baked goods that they don't
Right.
they
Come on
put
now.
in the trash.
Them good
Chocolate
cookies.
chunk cookies.
Yeah,
Right.
talk that talk now.
Right. And also Kim said that's what's up. And these are stories I think that our viewers, if you just now tuned in, we are here at Chats with Chantla on this platform where we build, connect, and collaborate. And tonight we are collaborating with the CORE, which stands for Conversations on Real Experiences. And we have Rashad, Shannon, J-Kel, Montel, and Kian. And you don't want to miss another moment. So make sure you're staying tuned in. If you have any questions for our guests, make sure you put it in the comments and I'll ask on your behalf. But I think that anyone who is listening, just because the vision that you had doesn't happen exactly at the time you think it should, does not mean that it won't happen. Montel said it was 3 years ago. Then J-Kel came in a year after that and confirmed what he already felt was for him, Kian and Rashad. And bringing that from J-Kel, she was also able to bring in Shannon. And so it was an amazing opportunity that God had for his timing. But I just think that it's just such a coincidence that when we try to put things in our own control, it's like, whoo, it don't happen. And then we have to just wait on God's time. And like Ty said, won't he do it? He does it every time and he blows your mind. So I just love that response and I love that story. And I hope anyone who's watching finds that relatable and also inspiring to make sure that you are doing what's for you. So I just want to shout out J-Kel because she is acting up. You see her jumping in and jumping out. So
right.
All the sass. I know she brought all the sass. all the side. She brought it with the technology and everything. She almost a beat. She comes back with I'm smiling, lip glosses all shiny and popping. But she brings it, and I really appreciate, like I said, the synergy that you all bring together as a team and what you're bringing tonight to this platform. So I also want to ask, because many people probably want to know, is what is the mission of the core, and what in general do you want the podcast to achieve?
I'm gonna ask Brother Rashad to piggyback off of me, but because this is his statement, it was like, listen, we running with this. Freedom and liberation through conversation.
Let me type that real quick so everybody can see.
Go ahead. That's a quotable. We need t-shirts and everything.
Right.
And I want
one more time for people in the back.
Yeah. Freedom and liberation through conversation. And I want Shad to kind of give his inspiration behind that.
Okay, so freedom and liberation through conversation just kind of came to me because the whole aspect of this podcast was to free ourselves from whatever we talk about. So every topic that we talk about is something that we've been either dealing with or hindered by or anything like that. So we are having the conversation so that we can unpack that. So with freedom comes liberation. So to be free is to also be liberated. So if we want to achieve freedom and liberation, we are having that through our conversation. So us talking to one another, us talking to our audience, we bringing people up. We're having people unpack some heavy stuff off of them so that they can be free too, because we don't want to carry around the stuff. Like, we're not trying to carry around stuff all the time. We want to be free, because when we're free, we can teach somebody else how to be free, because we can liberate other people through just our words. And we're seeing that even just a Clubhouse room can make someone feel lighter. So freedom and liberation through conversation, it was just something that just came to me. It was very quick, and it felt like it was placed by God right in my heart, because it came out. I didn't hesitate or anything, because it feels like everybody who comes into our Clubhouse rooms gets free. Maybe just a little bit free, maybe a lot free. Maybe people just, unload all their baggage. But we are trying to free and liberate people through our conversation.
So I will say, I know what that feeling is, and raise my hand, like in the back of the class, and take it all the way up. And I came to Clubhouse my very first time, and I just had an emotional dump. So I understood the freedom and liberation through the conversation. So I can echo that 100%, that, I was like with total, complete strangers in some way in regards to the way that I was like just dumping my emotions. So, I've seen 4 of the 5 before, and Shannon's the only one that I was unfamiliar with. And I was like, oh my goodness, I really did that. And yes, I did. But, but I really appreciated the platform, because it did liberate me, and it just made me feel so much better. And also it helped me recognize some of my own triggers and trauma that I had to definitely address. So, Shannon, without me knowing, I was like, do you have counseling? Are you a counselor? And so there was just the way that she spoke and the way she invited me to be able to be heard. And what I will say is the platform, unlike other places that you go, there's no judgment, and I think that's what was so beneficial. And one of the things I was grateful for is that there was just no judgment, even in my vulnerability, even in my mistakes that I may have made, or just anything. I just really felt like they took me for who I was, and they took me in that very raw moment. And so if you're looking for a platform to get that, and to also be supported by the other people in the room, you're not going to get that anywhere but the core. So you really need to make sure that you tune in. And do a quick plug. It's on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on Clubhouse. If you don't have Clubhouse, or get someone to send you the invite or download it. But you definitely want to be there. And make sure I'm going to be there, because I'm going to be in the room. But we're definitely going to continue this conversation. But there are a lot of people in the chats, and they, just saying that that's good. That feels real good. And I agree with you, Tiara, that she said, I love Shannon. She's good.
Love you
now.
too, sis.
The dopest. Now the dopest.
I love her too. And Tiara, if you were in that room, you know I definitely love her because I was spewing out, honey. But I was very grateful. So I really appreciate you all. But my next question for the group is one, and it's a quote, and I want to get your feedback. So, in your own words, what does the phrase "people buy into the leaders before they buy into the vision"? And that's a John Maxwell quote. What does that mean to you? People buy into the leaders before they buy into the vision. So I'll start that off with Shannon. We'll start it off.
Yeah, so I think that, just even going back to the first initial question, in order for people to buy into us as the core, they have to buy into us as people first. And that makes us have to be able to be open, have to be transparent, have to be real, authentic. And that's one of the things that I love about what we do, because there's no masks here, right? Like there's no... and I think that's why we like the podcast setting, because we don't have to be on all the time, right? So this is really a space for us initially to keep it real with each other as brothers and sisters and hold each other accountable, and then be able to be that to other people. So I think, in order for people to buy into our mission, want to be a part of what we're doing, there has to be a certain level of realness and authenticity and vulnerability with us as the face of the core.
Absolutely. Ian, do you want to add anything into that?
No, she basically took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say. Something similar. It was just basically being the example. Like, we can't go out and try to free everybody else if we're acting a certain way. We have to be that example to other people. So basically, just sums up everything she just said. Yeah.
Okay. But I do have a quick question that wasn't one that I shared. So if someone doesn't know, which most people do, but I don't want to assume, because we have all different age groups that view Chats with Chantla. So if someone's like, okay, what is a podcast? How would you describe a podcast for them to have an understanding of what it is? Because when you said you don't have to show up your best, most people now, everything is virtual and you see somebody. And when you said that, I was like, maybe people don't understand what a podcast is. So could somebody on the team describe what the podcast is? And also, if you want to give a sneak peek on the platform you use that allows you not to come looking like you have to be ready, camera ready every single day.
I'll start off by saying the podcast is kind of a virtual talk show. You got to kind of get an ear in on what a certain group of people are talking about on a certain topic. That's what a podcast is to me. I don't know if that's how everyone else feels. What if you want to piggyback off of and add to? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Just like a virtual place to converse. I mean, I think there's a lot of different people who have different types of podcasts. So, there are some where, people go there and they want therapy, or they go there for information. And I think what makes us unique is it is just a place for us to talk about something real with each other, with people who are going through similar things, and can kind of, again, hold us accountable or push us and empower us. But I think, like Montel said, it's just a virtual platform for us to come and discuss a topic.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And so also moving, before I move on to the next question, you're on Clubhouse, correct?
Yes.
Correct. Yes.
So Clubhouse doesn't require you, if you want to join, you don't have to be your best looking, no one sees you. So it's kind of like it's a chat room, and you can go in and just really get something. And I always leave feeling increased because I did go to the core Clubhouse. So you definitely want to make sure that you go there and you support it. But I do have the next question, and it's pertaining to the podcast. So when thinking about the podcast, what keeps you up at night? So I'll start with J. Kell on this question. She looked back at me like, now you're doing Go ahead. Mm-hmm. I'm ready.
What keeps me up at night is just our vibe. Like, I really feel like for a long time, I'm like, I don't really have any brothers that I could go to for advice or anything like that. And I can really depend on these brothers of mine. I may get on their nerves, but I know that I can depend on them. And it's just the healing that I even get from it, because I've shared things with them that I haven't shared with anybody. So I know that, again, getting that freedom, that healing, and just that sibling vibe that I get from them, that's what keeps me up at night. Oh, and me worrying about if I'm going to get yelled at by Montel.
Yo, chill.
The next morning. Together, and that audio message, like, yo, good morning. This is what I need. So that's what keeps me up at night.
Yo.
Oh my God. Y'all are hilarious. That was funny. Montel, didn't she? She was like, oh, and yo, and she like circled back, like she did a quick U-turn, because she came back and she picked you up real quick.
I already knew she was coming for me.
We're in the group. We're in the group, like, not the audio, bro, not the audio.
Listen,
that's not going to be the last reference either. It's not going to be the last reference either.
Hold on. Because sometimes a text message just ain't going to do it. Like, you need to hear somebody's voice. Like, hey, yo, okay, this is the deal. And this is what we got to do. And this is what we got to figure out, period.
Okay.
It was effective. It was
very effective.
Come on now, see?
So, Rashad, what keeps you up at night when you think about the
podcast? So I kind of disclosed this. I've been disclosing this actually the past couple of podcasts that we've done. But when I was younger, I didn't feel like I had like a big voice. So what keeps me up at night is just like, I don't want to say the wrong thing, because for such a long time, I didn't have a place where I could just dump. And it's just, I mean, I try to be careful with the things that I say. Yeah, I go off and I say all the things that I feel like I need to say and that are on my heart. But at the same time, it's just really being cognizant of everybody else that I'm in communion with, because like one wrong move on my part could jeopardize my 4 brothers and sisters. So it's just really making sure that like I talk in a way that I can get my point across without hurting anybody, number one, and number two, not making my words messy. I don't want to ever be messy, because I know I reflect not only myself but my 4 brothers and sisters. So I really just I try to be hyper vigilant about that for sure.
Okay, I love it. But we do have a question from the viewers of Chats with Chantla, and it's from Tamara Stretching, and she wants to know, can Android users use Clubhouse?
Unfortunately, it's exclusive to Apple users at the moment.
Oh, that's
unfortunately. Rough. I know. I mean, it's still in its beginning stages, but so we're going to be on Clubhouse, but we're going to actually launch our actual podcast. So she will be able to access that through whatever streaming platform that she uses, be it Tidal, Spotify, Apple Music. So that'll be coming soon. Hopefully within the next, let's say month, we will be able to record our series of podcasts. And then Clubhouse will just be like a recap room. So we're going to get our topics out and maybe even have a special guest or two every once in a while on the actual podcast. And then we'll drop it one day, and then maybe the following day or a couple days after, we'll start doing the live rooms to recap what we spoke about on the original podcast. So
wonderful. So she said yay and can't wait. And we anyone who knows Kim knows that she is an avid Android user. So she's like, wow. That hit hard,
Miss Kim. It's all right, Miss Kim. We'll be all right.
Hey, come on and bite the apple, sis. Go on,
right. It's waiting for you. I see there's a piece already missing that's calling your name. So, but there's enough people, Kim, that that you can get on that iPhone for an hour and check it out. But we're gonna make it happen. The core is gonna make Androids, makers and users come to the platform, and they're gonna see missing out. So the conversation that the core team brings, they're going to be like, oh, we got to definitely support the conversations on real experiences. But the next question is, because you guys have such amazing conversations and topics, I should say, on the Clubhouse platform, how do you determine what topics you're going to talk about on your podcast?
Brother Shad, that's you.
Yeah, so we just kind of go into a private room and just start throwing stuff against the wall. Like, we probably go through, I say 5 to 7 topics. Like, we narrow it down from like 5 to 7 topics to try to get one. And actually, the notes that we have from last year, we have an entire note of just topics that we haven't even touched yet. Like, we just, in our early meetings, we were just hammering out topics, and we were just rattling them off. They were just coming off the brain. And now we're just kind of, I think we're trying to like tone down on like adding to the list and just kind of trying to refine what's in the list, because we got some stuff in there that we could be in Clubhouse for 5 hours, 5 hours on one topic, and it just be one topic. Like, it's honestly, it's a very lengthy process, but it doesn't seem like work though, because we just come in, like, as soon as our main Clubhouse is over, we go to a private room and we're like, all right, so next week, what's up? Okay, yep, we're gonna have a meeting this day. We try to pick meeting times that work for everybody, but we're kind of all over the place because we all work. So it's like we kind of try to, Wednesday night, we kind of try to at least have a blueprint of what we're going to do. And then in our pre-production meeting, I'd say, we try to like refine it. We try to make sure that, we cut a little bit of the fat out so that we're just having free flowing discussion, but we kind of want to temper it because, we got a lot of stuff to get done.
Yeah. Y'all are ready for like I love your verbiage. I love how y'all all come together and share the platform. And as we're all speaking and toggling between everybody, I just love it. I mean, when you said pre-production, I was like, this is for real.
Oh yeah, no, it's serious though. It's serious.
That wouldn't be for those who are playing. So I just love that. But before we go any further, I just have to shout out my t-shirt. It says support me greater than or more than 28 days. And I got that from Love Baby Inc. And you should get yours today and support Black business owners every day, not just February, 365, 24/7. So let's get back to business. Why did you choose Clubhouse as your platform for the core podcast?
So originally, we, of course, wanted to do a traditional route with the podcast, but COVID happened. And I was one of the first people on Clubhouse. And as I was on Clubhouse a couple weeks, I just really saw how people were using it. I saw rooms that I was in, and I'm like, hold up, like, we could be doing this. Mm-hmm. So I text the group, and I'm like, y'all, like, we need to get on here. We need to start putting ourselves out there. Like, we can definitely use it in a way, again, to kind of gain an audience and kind of just reconnect, because for us, we were all kind of doing our own thing after when COVID had happened, and we kind of were, just all kind of surviving. So I think nonetheless, it was a way for us to come together again as a family, but also begin to kind of put our name out there, because we had everything. Like, we were literally ready to go pre-COVID, and then COVID happened. So we had to kind of shut everything down. So all we needed was a platform, and Clubhouse gave that to us. So we were able to use it, and it's been great. So
I love that. And the thing about it is that even though we're in a pandemic, and we're still in a pandemic, even though some people's behaviors act like we're not, that's another topic for Clubhouse. But in this pandemic, there have been a lot of innovative things that have come, because now we see that we need certain things. And so Clubhouse is one. And just on ABC this week, Clubhouse is like the #1 site for entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. And Clubhouse hasn't even been in existence. I'll say 6 months, maybe more than that, mm-hmm. but it's already worth over $1 billion. And wow. I think that's insane. Yeah, and wow. I just want to say, one of the reasons why it's worth so much is people that look like us are supporting it. So we have to remember that what we put out and support somebody else, when it is somebody that looks like us, we should be supporting. because I like just being for real. Like we are always, no one has to be in competition. There's room for everybody, but we have the brains, and we have the intellect, and we have the skill set. Sometimes what's lacking is the support. So if you're watching Chats with Chantla, you're supporting this platform, but I'm not here for you just to support this platform. I'm here for you to connect with people that I'm connecting with. It's about building, connecting, and collaborating with. So you don't support the guest for the hour or however long they're on this platform and then forget them. You support them from now, probably before they actually got here, because there's show announcements, and then way after, because they're building a legacy that you need to be part of. So yeah, I really appreciate that Clubhouse generated that for you, but there's maybe things that the core is doing down the line, and you definitely need to be a supporter of it. So Ms. Kim said, but that was really God, because of COVID, virtual has really spread. So now it's time for y'all to really rise. I agree with that. I agree with that.
I'm claiming that for sure.
Absolutely.
Right into existence. And you know, Ty had to come through when I was saying about she's like, a word. Okay, a word. And I love that. So thank you, Ty. So getting back to Clubhouse, what have you learned from sharing on the Clubhouse platform that has been considered an advantage for your podcast?
So I think it has definitely been a learning experience for us in the way that we kind of process our topics. So, you know, when it's just the five of us speaking organically together, it's a lot less structured. But Clubhouse, I think, has really allowed us to really kind of fine tune and refine some of the things that we talk about, and kind of, it's really been like a learning lesson. So even, you know, for me, where I might have been not as reserved, I feel like I would still be very vulnerable and open within. That's okay. Like if it was just the five of us, I think it really has allowed us to kind of just fine tune and refine our process, fine tune and refine who we are, how we want to represent ourselves, like to the greater public, especially now because people are listening and talking. So I know for me, like I'm always thinking about, you know, in the back of my head, like how are we going to represent ourselves? What's our process? What kind of product are we putting out there? And I think Clubhouse has really allowed us to kind of think about that.
I appreciate that response. Thank you for sharing that. And my next question, and maybe multiple responses for the team, is what has been your fork in the road with maintaining the success of the podcast?
It's kind of tough to even answer that because we're so early in the process, you know. Like we're literally getting our feet wet at this moment. Like I don't know if that's something we could answer right now. If someone another response for that, but go ahead. But I don't know if we can really answer that yet. You know.
Well, I think for now it's just everyone showing up, doing what they're supposed to do, coming to the meetings, engaging for right now so that we can continue what we've already started. So I think the consistency, even though COVID put a damper on our plans and me relocating, I believe that the consistency that we have within the group and the determination that this is where we said we were going, so let's start making our way there.
Okay.
Right. I was going to say,
excuse me.
Right. Let me, you know, let me add my little percent. Definitely. So we're going to get into kind of like the meat of this conversation. And so thank you so much if you're just now joining in to Chats with Chantla. Our featured entrepreneurs this week are the core, and it stands for Conversations on Real Experiences. You can find them on Clubhouse every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And they're going to be growing their platform and expanding. So for those who are Android users, you'll find them on Spotify and Apple. Is it Apple Store, Apple Music? Don't quote me. I'm Montel if I said it wrong. But they're going to make sure that you can still get to them. But we all have friends that have iPhones. Just connect with that individual and share together. Make it a time that you guys can come together and get a really great conversation and get some healing going on and also support for each other. So this next question is kind of deep and going to give provide us a little bit more insight on the team as well. So can you guys share your worst moments with conducting the podcast?
So
look.
It was like we laugh about it because it was so awkward. But it was a learning lesson. So our very first Clubhouse, and again, I love Clubhouse because people can come to the stage, you can collaborate. You know, our first one and even our last one, I think, like, we heal a lot in there too, right? So sometimes when we're sharing, so we were in our very first Clubhouse and there was somebody in the audience who was giving great insight. He was adding to the conversation. And then like towards the tail end, it kind of went left because his beliefs were a little bit different than ours. And he was like asking us to do some things that we just didn't feel comfortable doing. And we kind of all just were like frozen. So it was like, we were like, literally, we were like in shock. Like we muted our mics. We were in our group chat. Like, how do we kind of conduct ourselves? So I think we left kind of a little bit embarrassed because we were like shell shocked by what happened. But I think, you know, in the moment we kind of regrouped real quick. I pulled it together and I was like, well, you know, we want to kind of be respectful of everybody. Would you be okay if we did this? But I think at the end of the day, once, you know, we reflected and we kind of regrouped after the Clubhouse, it was definitely a learning experience. It was definitely, you know, it was important for us to really, you know, continue to reset the room in a way that represented who we are and what we were trying to achieve, while also being respectful of our audience, because you never really know who's coming to Clubhouse, right? And that's one of the good things about it. Like, it's a great place to share thoughts and ideas and perspectives and get you to thinking in a way that you might not have. But I think, you know, and for our first time, we were all just really like deer in headlights. Like if we were virtual, like if you could see our face, we all probably would have been like seriously, like frozen.
Right.
And then too, you know, for me, the next day, I was really holding on to it because I didn't want him as a listener to feel offended by anything that I said, because I didn't want him to feel like I wasn't respecting what he was trying to do in that space. So, you know, I held on to it for a couple of days, just like wanting to make sure that I was respectful to a listener. So I think, you know, being public, that was probably our worst moment so far.
Yeah, I can agree to that. Like, in the moment we all froze. And everybody's we have the group message. Everybody's like, what do we do? Everybody's looking for Big Brother. Where you at right now? The whole time my phone's on do not disturb, so I don't see any of these messages.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we're all, and I felt like I failed my siblings, because it was like y'all were looking for me in a moment and I was just as stuck as you were, you know? And it was crazy because I'm like, in my mind, I'm going over all these multiple different tactics and ways to keep order over the room, because I've been in a few rooms on Clubhouse where things got kind of out of hand and the moderators had to just be like, okay, listen, you're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. This person's getting kicked out of the room. You're going back to the audience. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I had a list of things. This is what we're not going to let happen. You know, you're not going to overtalk people. You're not going to disrespect the women in the room, you know? And the last thing I thought about was, how can I say it? Belief differences. You know, I was in protect mode as far as like making sure no one got hurt on that aspect, on every other aspect. But as far as the spiritual differences, like, and my man kind of came in there with like some chanting stuff and some different, we was like, whoa, like, hold on. And like Shannon said, and like Shannon said, it was because of the platform, you know, you got to be careful on Clubhouse, you know, because literally someone can screenshot and screen record whatever they can get, and they will tear you down, you know. And it's like we tried to be respectful for whatever it was, and be respectful for whoever was coming in to listen and add their 2 cents in on everything. But like Shannon said, we had to regroup after that and set an order of, okay, this is what we're going to do from here on out. And that's that, you know. Ken, did you have something to say?
But it was that moment for me though, that it was like very, very, very like shocking. I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like he said, we were in the text, we were in the group chat, and we were like, "Hey, where's Montel? Montel, where you at?" He ain't answering nobody. But it's funny now when you look back at it. But it was a learning experience for us. For me, anyways, I feel like if that would have never happened, we wouldn't have had the structure that we have in Clubhouse now. So
right.
Now we can go. Now we have the structure. Now we have where we can have people talk, but there's a certain structure there that allows you to say what you gotta say and to go back down to where the audience. Before we didn't have that. We were just like we were new and we were just going off of how it, like you said, we're getting our feet wet and we were going off on it and trying to figure everything out, and we were new to the app. So anybody that came, I feel like that could have been anybody, actually. That could have been anybody who had anything to say because we didn't know how to react to it. So because of that happening, I feel like we definitely are better, we're stronger, and greater. We're going to do bigger and better things and move forward from that point on.
All right. I think that was a great conclusion to that question. Way to bring it home, and you just anchored that.
No, bro.
Yes, sir.
So my next question is, how do you think that each of your personal narratives impact the podcast? Like what your personal narratives, how you bring it in and how it impacts how it shows up on the platform?
So I think that we definitely are, even though we look the same, which is a huge part of who we are and what we represent, we're all very different. So some of us are married, some of us are not, some of us have kids, some of us don't. Some of us are in corporate America, some of us are starting off nonprofits and things like that. So I think, again, even though we all look the same, and again, that's a big part of who we are and what we represent, even that in of itself is very versatile. And I think, we bring a lot of different perspectives just based on our own life's experiences. We were actually just reflecting on this yesterday when we were done, and we were like, we all come from similar backgrounds, right? So we all come from struggle. So that's something that we can share. But then we're different and we bring different perspectives on a lot of different things as well. So
absolutely.
I was going to say, I think that I feel like Montel and Shannon kind of balance each other out very well because they both are high personality, high character, but they're also high structure. I think that J.K. and I balance each other out too because it's like we're about whatever. So it's like we honestly like when she say she be acting up, like I'll be right there gassing her, like, all right, yeah, let's go.
Right.
And then like Ken just be, Ken be in and out. Ken be like, oh yeah, this is what happened, blah 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 blah. And then Ken be like, no, it wasn't that serious. Like, no, y'all know how we get. So you can't bring something to the table and not expect us to eat. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's really just like we really like vibe off of one another because there was a situation where we all had to rally around one common issue, and we did it. We did it seamlessly. It was just like an issue on the table, and then we all were just like, nah, this is what we're about to do. We're about to make that 10 times more fire than there's ever been. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And it's just like we are a family. That's just what we do. Like we all, we argue with each other. There was debate over pictures and there was all this other stuff, but it was like we just
Bro,
let me finish, bro. Just let me finish, bro. You know what I mean?
I know what you're talking about. Sorry, viewer.
So no, we can leave that table. But no, I honestly think that we really all just like we fit. We all just fit together. Like it's just like I honestly feel like there was no more perfect fit, and I think that just because we like the time that we waited, like we had to go through some things like individually, and that just made us stronger. That just made us like really eager to like, oh no, like we're going to make sure that when we put this product out, it's going to be the best product that we could even do. So
yeah.
Absolutely. And see, you already influencing people because Miss Kim said I might have to get an apple after all.
yeah,
Yes.
let's do that.
All that the core has to offer, and she's missing out, and she understands it. It's been even more confirmed to her now with having you all here. And what I love is that being on this platform gives people an opportunity to learn the leaders or learn the entrepreneurs in a more intimate way that you share so they can see themselves. And then sometimes that's all it takes is for someone to say, that reminds me of me, or that sounds like me. And there's a connection. And that connection is why you want to support and why you want to be that helping hand and, share and like and talk about. So I want this question to be a call of action to our viewers on here on Chats with Chantla. Provide all of us with contact information. Like, you have an email address that we can reach you at. Make sure that we know each and every one of you guys' individual social media handles, which are on the screen for some, but not all. So Rashad and Kian, we would definitely need yours. And if the core team has that, so just websites, social media handles, if you have a channel that you want us to follow. So it gives our audience an opportunity to say, how can I support next? Like, what's next for them and what's next for you guys? And I know that comes together with us being able to find you and follow you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so definitely follow us. We have an Instagram. It's at the Core Pod. So we are in the midst of getting that up and running, but the followers can come first, of course. So definitely follow us at the Core Pod on Instagram to get updates, especially with us going to launch the actual podcast soon. And then on Clubhouse, if you are not on Clubhouse yet, and you have to get an invite, but you can follow all of us individually once you are on there. And then we can ping you into the rooms when we're on there on Wednesdays.
And that's the Clubhouse is called?
So we don't have an actual room because the logistics of getting like an actual Clubhouse room it's tedious. So if you're on there, you could just follow one of us, and then we'll just ping you in the rooms.
Okay. And the room is called The Core. So you'll want to make sure that you follow either Shannon, so Rashad, Kian, Montel, or Jakel. So if somebody wanted to follow you, are your names the same that they appear tonight, or are they different?
So this is my Instagram handle. So if you follow me on Instagram, I'll definitely be sure to post my Clubhouse. So you'll know my Clubhouse is a little bit different, but I'll post my Clubhouse. So definitely follow me on Instagram. I'll post my Clubhouse name so you can follow me on Clubhouse.
Absolutely. What about you, Rashad? What's your social media handles, if you have any?
It's Rashad Craig. My Instagram handle is it's Shad with 2 A's _96. Those are just basically the two social medias that I use, and on Facebook I'm just Rashad Craig.
Okay. Kian, what about you?
So my Clubhouse name is Kian Calloway, and I don't have any social media. I'm the oddball at the group. I just got Facebook, which is Kian J Calloway. I don't got Instagram, no Snapchat, no anything. I'm an old soul, so
it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
You definitely are an old soul.
Facebook.
You're relaxing, and then Kian, when I put two and two together of who you were, because at first I was like, I don't know him, and then when I saw you with hair, I was like, oh my gosh, I've pulled church in throughout the community. So I was all embarrassed, like, I know him, like, as many times as I done walked in Uniontown High School, I done seen you. Now, many times I done walked in Hickory House, I done seen you. So, it's just being like, y'all are growing up, y'all are just growing up. So, Montel, how do we find you on social media?
Everything is in my username over here. So yeah, you feel me? You see me? Bam! Oh, there it goes. So if you search me, I actually have two Instagrams. One is more personal. The other one is more so directed towards my music. So if you just search me as Montel Menace, you'll find my personal account. If you search Tizo, which is my artist, producer, DJ name, you'll find my music production and artist page. Also, if you search either one of the names, I believe you can find me on Clubhouse as well. So yeah, everything you need to know is right there in the username.
Okay, and that is T with the 3 AZO.
Yeah,
okay,
T3A0 or T3AZ0.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Let me correct myself.
Stop.
T3A0. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me bring my little sass out. Okay, let me bring my little sass out. So I'm gonna leave JK last because she got 550,000 social media campaigns.
You know what?
After this call, lay hands virtually on her. But go ahead, Jacob.
All the time.
You know what?
All the time.
I probably ask for your forgiveness because I feel this deeply, and I just want you to forgive me.
I forgive you, boo. I love you so much.
That is my Instagram name displayed on the screen. She is j.d.brown. My Clubhouse name, I believe is She is J.D. I think that's it, my Clubhouse.
Well, I'm thank you for not knowing.
Just search J Brown.
J Brown. Yeah, that's the safe bet. Yeah.
My other Instagram page is for my woman empowerment group, and it is She Is Me 2911.
I know that's right. And I'm a part of that too. And I get inspired and empowered. That's what keeps me going. So I am going to remove myself from the feed for just a moment because I want the viewers of Chats with Chantla to get your final thoughts on if each of you could give some inspiration and give some, words of empowerment, encouragement, just bless our audience. And I want our audience to focus on the words that you're about to provide to them. So these are the final thoughts from the core. And so again, the core stands for the Conversations on Real Experiences. And you are hearing from Rashad, Shannon, J.Kel, Montel, and Kian. And you want to follow them on Clubhouse every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And then you want to make sure that you connect with them. They provided you with their social media handles. And if you're just now joining in, you didn't miss anything. Hit replay and see it from the beginning because you want to definitely be inspired, encouraged, motivated, and empowered by each one of them. So the core 5 is going to leave you with some final thoughts.
Brother Rashad, take us in.
Okay. I just want to thank everybody for coming out and, listening to us ramble and, do what we do. I mean, I think that this experience has just been an amazing one. It's been a blessing. What I really want to leave with is, if you have a dream, chase it. It doesn't matter how big. It might sound crazy to somebody else, but that's because God didn't give them your dream. He gave you your dream. So, whatever you have, whatever God placed on your heart, if you believe that it's from God, trust it.
Okay.
All right. And absolutely, positively, come join us Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. If I can leave anybody with anything, we've all been through something. And the best way for us to heal and to move on is for us to use our voices and come together and have these conversations. So hopefully, you felt like this is a place and we're a group of people that you would want to listen to and converse with so that can be that place of freedom and liberation.
I would leave with, it is okay to share your story. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. You never know what your story or who your story is healing. Trust your process and your journey.
And I will leave with just, And I will leave with just be yourself. Be true to who you are. My mom used to, as I was getting raised, my mom used to have this saying, I raised you to be yourself and nobody else. So then that stuck with me, and then it got me pretty far in my life, and I hopefully can get everybody else who hears this pretty far in theirs. So you just be true to you, stay yourself no matter what, and with no how can I put it without trying to sound too forward, but basically just be yourself. I was going to say something, but then I was like, I don't know how it's going to go over well. So I'm just leave it at that.
Let me think. never be afraid to share your uncomfortable space. The certain thing that you battle with, you struggle with, because there's a ton of people battling and dealing with the same exact thing that you are. The very same discomforts. Don't ever be afraid to share them, because that very thing can set you free, and as well as whoever you're sharing it with, it could be setting them free as well. And it just to bring back our slogan, freedom and liberation through conversation, you know? So right when you're setting someone else free, or right when you're setting yourself free through this conversation, you could be setting someone else free.
Well, you got it from the core. Remember that you saw them here first, because they're about to blow up. And you remember that you got the first encounter from them on Chats with Chantla. But it has been an amazing collaboration. I enjoy participating in your Clubhouse Wednesdays at 7 p.m. If you don't have it, the app, make sure you get it. Android users, make sure you get with your friend with that iPhone. And you will be leaving that platform with these 5 wonderful and amazing people and individuals and their skill set, their talent. And they're more than people. They just are individuals with purpose and passion. And so every time I leave, I just feel so released and so free and increased. And it's not just for me, it's for anybody else that wants to be there. And Kim, yes, they are. They're all that and so much more. It's here. I'm applauding them with you. They are a powerhouse all together, and their synergy and the chemistry that they have is so amazing. So you got an opportunity to see it, but continue to support it. So it's been another opportunity to join with entrepreneurs, local and far, here on Chats with Chantla. Thank you so much, the core team. You guys are amazing. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in to another episode of Chats with Chantla. See you next week at 7.
Oh, y'all.